I led a very sheltered life. My mother was very protective. She said, girls are not good for you, and I wanted to date. I prayed to God. I said, I do not want to be at 50 where I am at 49. He answered my prayer because I met this girl, cut her grass, washed her car, etc. And we got married on one day before my 50th birthday.
I moved up here in December of 2006 for this church. And then a year later, I found out I was pregnant with a guy I wasn't even dating. I just remember thinking how ashamed I was and how I'd only been here for a year and this was my chance to start over, and I just ruined it. And I wrecked another person's life that didn't ask for it. It was no longer about me anymore. It was about the girl that was in my belly, and that was Avery. If I wanted her to not go through this, I had to start pointing my feet in the right direction, and that was trusting God and believing in Him again.
In 2007, I was working in a family business, and I had a dream to be in ministry, but that dream had kind of fallen apart. And I went to a men's retreat here at Granger Community Church. Mark Beeson talked about dry bones and how God would put flesh on them and raise them again. I started believing that He could. And now 10 years later, I'm leading worship, the same retreat that I went to 10 years ago.
My husband and I tried for many years to get pregnant, and after a while I just started to ask God to take that desire away from me if it wasn't something that was meant to be. I questioned a lot whether I was supposed to be a mom. Was I supposed to care for other children? Was that something that God wanted for me, or did He have a different plan and it was just me being selfish, that I wanted to do what everybody else was doing? And I thought, why was it so easy for everyone else? I'd hear stories of others getting pregnant on their honeymoon and just others that didn't even want a baby. And so I couldn't understand why that was still in my heart. I got sick with a sinus infection, and it just wouldn't go away, and I was on antibiotics, and I ended up being late, and I'm never late. So a friend of mine, after talking with her, had recommended I go get a test. I didn't want to because I didn't want to return to that place of hope that has been gone for 8 years. Finally, decided to get the test, and I remember that moment. We were waiting outside the door with the test on the other side, and we prayed in that time. And I just remember when the door opened, when my husband picked up the test, and it was finally positive, and that's the day my world changed.
My life now is different because I realize that there is a God who is in control, and God is so good all the time.
When I heard that word from Mark and God moved inside of me, that was the moment that changed everything.
And I trusted God to provide, and He did. And now it's me, Eric, and the 2 kids, and we're happily married, and we're still serving at this church.
I know that God's timing is perfect. I just am reminded that His plan is much better than mine. And that's the moment everything changed.